Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to completely tear down our old ideas about what it means to be intelligent and build a brand new framework from the ground up. We're going to explore a way of thinking about smarts that goes way beyond test scores and fancy degrees. All right, let's jump right in. So, let me just start by asking you a question. When you hear that word smart, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it, acing a test, having a PhD, maybe being an expert in some crazy complex field? For most of us, that's what we think of. But what if that's not even half the story? Well, this points to this fascinating, kind of funny phenomenon sometimes called nobilitas. Yep, it's the tendency for brilliant experts, even Nobel Prize winners, to make some really baffling mistakes outside their own field. And this quote just nails it. Being a certified genius doesn't make you immune to blind spots. And that right there, that's a huge clue that our standard definition of intelligence is missing something absolutely critical. Okay, so to get to the bottom of all this, here's our game plan. We're going to start by redefining intelligence itself, then we'll break it down into two key parts. After that, we'll get practical and look at how to actually grow it, compare book smarts versus street smarts, or academic versus holistic smarts, and we'll end with a really provocative question that might just change how you think about knowing things. So, let's kick things off by moving past those simple definitions. We are not just talking about being good at school or winning awards. Nope. We are aiming for a much richer, more useful model of what it means to be truly intelligent. The framework we're exploring defined intelligence like this. See, it's not just one thing. It's this dynamic mix of your cognitive skills and your personality traits. The real key idea here is that intelligence isn't some static thing you have. It's all about effectively directing change. It's a combination of what you know and, just as importantly, how you actually use it. So how does this actually work? Let's use a really simple but powerful metaphor to think about this. Imagine intelligence has two essential parts. You've got a toolkit, which holds all your skills, and then you've got an engine, which provides the power to actually use them. Okay, so here's the deal. Your cognitive traits, that's your toolkit. These are the skills you learn for analyzing info and solving problems. But think about it. A toolkit that just sits in the garage is pretty useless, right? That is where your personality traits come in. They are the engine, the motivation, the drive, the attitude that puts those tools to work. You've got to have both to be effective. So let's peek inside the toolkit. This is the stuff we traditionally call smarts. Things like analytical thinking, breaking down problems, critical thinking to evaluate what you're hearing, and metacognition, which is this crucial skill of thinking about your own thinking. These are the tools we build through learning and practice. But remember, that toolkit is useless without an engine to power it. And this is where it gets really interesting, because these are the personality traits that are absolutely vital. Audacity, the guts to challenge how it's always been done. Grit, to keep pushing when things get hard. Curiosity, that fire to keep exploring. And objectivity, to see things as they are, not how you wish they were. This is the power plant of intelligence. And this image just sums it all up perfectly. On one side, you've got knowledge, that's the raw material. On the other side, you have intelligence, the finished product. So what connects them? It's all that stuff in the middle. Motivation, grit, courage, time, energy. These are the personality traits that act like powerful forces, turning what you know into what you can actually do. Okay, so this framework is great and all, but how do we actually apply it? How can we become more intelligent and not just more knowledgeable? Let's get practical. Here are 3 things you can start doing right now. First, root cause analysis. Don't just look at the surface level problem. Really challenge yourself to dig deeper and find what's really causing it. Second, practice critical inquiry. Actively question where your information comes from. Is it reliable? Is the data solid? And third, adopt systems thinking. Try to see the bigger picture to understand how all the different parts influence each other. This brings us to a super important distinction that really ties everything together. It explains why someone can be an absolute genius in the classroom, but really struggle with real-world problems. We're talking about the two worlds of intelligence, academic and holistic. And this table just lays it all out. Academic intelligence thrives in structured, predictable places like school. Holistic intelligence is what you need for the messy, complex real world. This right here is the answer to that whole nobilitas problem we talked about at the beginning. You can be a world-class expert in a structured setting, but lack the holistic engine and toolkit to navigate the unpredictable world outside of it.
All right, now for our final section, we're going to pivot to something a little more philosophical. We've spent all this time talking about how to be better thinkers, how to build our toolkits and fuel our engines. But what if that relentless search for answers is itself a kind of trap?
I mean, our minds are basically reason-seeking machines, right? We are desperate for a why behind everything. It gives us a sense of order, of control. But is that frantic search for answers always a good thing? The source material for this explainer raises a fascinating point. Sometimes our desperation for an answer can actually mislead us, causing us to invent reasons where maybe there just aren't any.
Now, this is a truly challenging thought. The suggestion here is that a higher form of intelligence might actually involve learning to resist that powerful urge to explain everything. It's about building the mental strength to be okay with ambiguity, to accept the really unsettling possibility that for some things, there just isn't a deeper reason.
And that leaves us with this final, tough question to chew on. What if true wisdom isn't about having all the answers, but about knowing when to stop searching for them? What if the smartest, most intelligent move of all is to simply accept that some things just are? It's something to think about. Thanks for digging into this with me.